for every worship pastor of a 300 to 500 person church that reaches out and says, thank you so much for how you helped me, there is a audio engineer at a church of 2,000 that are saying, what the heck, bro?
And I got to be honest, I'm convicted by this, and I'm not sure how to hold this. Man, we had to rewind so far to understand the actual need, not the felt need. The felt need was, man, if I'm around these guys, I'm going to get better, and I'm so grateful for that. But we didn't build our business around that because it wasn't sustainable, and it certainly wasn't scalable in terms of how many churches we wanted to be able to help.
Yeah, and can I just be so honest? It didn't seem like an important enough problem to solve. There is this like divide where there are people who, it's like we've left the game of the cool kids table.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more, come to this thing to see Jeff Sandstrom, or come to this thing, we'll get Corey Edwards here. We're going to have so-and-so. We've just kind of stopped doing that. We've left that.
Yeah.
And that was very intentional.
Yeah.
But it's kind of offensive to some people too. And there's either, I find that it's 50-50 right now. Either people are like, man, this last year has completely changed my life in the ways that you have invested into me and my team at my church. And there's other people who are like, what's going on with y'all? Like, why can't you guys do what you were doing for me a year ago?
Yeah. Or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the part of the community, the tribe, so to speak, as we used to call it, that is most not hurt, but just like longing for the good old days.
Yeah.
And I feel that. I, more than anybody, probably feel that because that's how we started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, MxU was designed for the three of us to challenge each other to get better.
Yeah.
And we thought, hey, I bet other people would want to eavesdrop on that conversation. But it was never to build a business. It was never designed to sort of become a brand. It was just, hey, what if we created an environment where the three of us could challenge each other, ask questions? Because there's no way to walk up to Andrew in the middle of a service and say, hey, can you solo your snare drum? Or let me hear the vocal soloed with just the effects. Like, it's completely impractical. And so with me touring and those guys in churches and doing big things with their production teams, it's like we didn't have a forum to be able to do that. And so the first MxU events were really for us and a few people to come along and hear what we had to say. And I loved it. It was great. Like, I don't want to demean any of those events or those years. I want to do it again. Like, I do miss it. I think, though, that it created I don't know, you and I have used the phrase cool kids table. It was like there was this yearning to be a part of the club. And like, oh man, if only I could. And I think, as I've said before, like, there is something aspirational about being able to mix like Corey Edwards. It's like, yeah, I agree. I saw Chris Raybould mix Silk Sonic in Vegas, and his treatment of Bruno's vocal and Anderson .Paak and the way they did that show, it was like, this is one of the best things I've ever heard. Like, this is awesome. So yeah, I want to be a part of that. The trouble is that doesn't help thousands of churches. It doesn't help the guy who doesn't know anything about anything with audio and is just trying to figure it out. Like, even when we released our first batch of content, we recorded 75 videos of what we thought were 101 concepts about audio. And it was over so many people's heads. And we had to realize, oh, wait a minute. Who we're talking to are more kind of people like us in terms of experience and exposure and, church size and all that stuff. We're kind of preaching to the choir a little bit instead of trying to reach down and really, truly help the guys and gals who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
So the change has been intentional and strategic. people may like it or may not like it, and I struggle with it because I love being in front of people and I love the live event aspects of what we have done in the past. So it's like part of it for us is, okay, how do we figure out how to have those touch points when it's appropriate, but at the same time, build a platform that's broader and deeper and more, helpful at the end of the day.
Yeah. Something that kind of came to mind while you were sharing some of that is in that, because really what came from so much of that in the early, it really took off in 2018, 2019 when the community really became rich.
Yeah.
We refer to that, the good old boys table, the good old boys club of church tech, kind of started this subculture that at the same time inadvertently created some alienation, right?
Yeah.
That now we feel like maybe we're undoing a little bit. Trying to.
Yeah.
But it's a slow process.
Yeah.
Something that I find these days, and I have to really check my heart and make sure we don't get cynical around here about it, but for every worship pastor of a 300 to 500 person church that reaches out and says, "Thank you so much for how you helped me," there is a audio engineer at a church of 2,000 or two audio engineers, churches of 2,000 that are saying, "What the heck, bro?
Yeah.
This is not for me anymore."
Yeah.
And we have this really, really core this tension that lives daily around here of we want to serve everyone. But right now there's this underlying us and them. Well, MxU, that was for us, the forgotten ones, the ones who nobody cared about. And finally somebody cared about us.
Yeah.
And last week I had somebody call and tell me, a good friend who I trust, he was like, there's enough resources out there for worship teams. There's so many Instagram accounts. There's so much out there for worship teams. Nobody cares about the tech people. And that's what you guys did. And so it's a shame that now we're kind of speaking to both. And I'm like, well, but aren't they one team?
They better be.
Are we not worship leaders behind the console?
Yeah.
Are we, why do we thrive on this us and them? And I speak boldly about this too. I love Philo. We're friends with Philo. The message of Philo, we could not be more behind.
Yeah.
But sometimes people take it the wrong way and go, woe is us. We're first in, last out. Nobody cares about us. So we need to stick together.
Yeah.
They don't.
It's a badge of honor in
it's
some
a badge
ways.
of honor that can actually lead to some bitterness.
Well, and to the comment about so many resources out there for worship teams, I would say, so does that mean song tutorials? Like you want to teach a bass player how to play the catalog? Okay, yeah, there are a lot of those. But on MxU, there are over 1,000 videos about how to hone your craft as well. So it's like, I don't think it would take a minute for somebody to get through all 1,000 videos plus on the MxU platform. So we're not lacking in resources.
Well, and I always tell people that, not to cut you off, but it's like I'm very proud of how far we've come. Nobody has even come close to competing with the amount of training that MxU serves the worship and tech community with.
Yeah.
And so it's not that we've given up on that. That is literally the product of our daily work.
Well, and that was the biggest reason for the shift.
Yeah.
Is we want to focus on broadening the base of content to be able to provide resources for lighting teams and video teams and worship teams and leadership and how to, so I would say to the person who feels alienated, who's at the 2,000 and up church, who's maybe they do have a dedicated audio staff. It's like, okay, I feel how you might feel that way, but we didn't push you to the side. We still want you to be a part of what we're doing. And the best way for you to do that is to not just go to a conference by yourself, but to bring a team of people alongside you and dig into the platform.
Yeah.
We've made it so easy for you to onboard and train and retain a team.
Yeah.
Especially now. I mean, I'm so proud of what the team has done in terms of things like planning center integration and quizzes and assessments. Like the fact that there is a way to assess somebody's progress specifically through a playlist or a course or a pathway of their training. Like to get to the end, I did it myself last week. I watched
a video of you teaching something?
No, I intentionally didn't watch myself, but I watched a video for keyboard players.
Clark Beckham's course.
Yes, Clark Beckham's course on just underscoring and how to play behind a hosting moment or in a transition. And what he taught was phenomenal, first of all. Like it made it so accessible and so simple to understand. And if you're a church keyboard player, please watch that course because it will change the way you approach worship. So at the end, I'm able to go through the assessment and take a quiz to make sure that I retain some information. It was like, this is what I personally, you know this, I've been after this for years.
Yeah.
And so the fact that technology has gotten to the point where it's been easier to accomplish that, I'm just so grateful. And so it's like, man, guys, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you feel nostalgia for the good old days and you want to go back to, well, you've got 200 previous podcast episodes. Take yourself back to episode 1 and you can hear us talk about all that stuff because it was fun.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And it mattered.
And it was relevant to where we were at that time.
Absolutely. And it was great. And I do think there needs to be a way, and we just have to figure this out. There needs to be a way to connect with people in person.
Yeah.
There is something about gathering as a community that is helpful.
Yep.
You know, whether that's workshops here at HQ or whether that's an old school MxU, mix-off, whatever you want to call it. It's like, yeah, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
But we didn't build our business around that because it wasn't sustainable and it certainly wasn't scalable in terms of how many churches we wanted to be able to help.
Yeah. And can I just be so honest? It didn't seem like an important enough problem to solve, like to spend the next 10, 15 years trying to solve.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just the honest truth. Like some of what we've been up against, and this is where we've really had to focus into what is the actual problem that we keep seeing over and over again. We spent 5 years teaching people how to become better mixers, how to become better at their craft. The thing that we kept hearing was like those people have since left because they got burnt out. They didn't have a team.
Yeah.
They were in an unsustainable ministry structure that they had kind of been a part of creating.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, I'm convicted by this, and I'm not sure how to hold this. I don't think it's like, oh, I need to apologize, because I don't think it's that bad. But I do feel like there were many people who would come to those events and walk away feeling like they had gotten the silver bullet. Like, I'm going to implement this console workflow, or I'm going to implement this plugin chain, and it's going to change everything. So they get back to their churches and they do that, and it's not any better.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's better for a while, and then they just revert back to their old habits, or they dig a deeper hole into a different area of their console because they didn't address that first. Like, there's some of that that's like, I don't know, that's why for me now it's so important to talk about how we listen. Yeah. And to talk about the source, and to talk about what happens before it even gets to the microphone, and all of those things. And then to talk about your console setup and your console workflow and gain structure and all the things that make all those little tips and tricks even usable in the first place. Because if your console is not set up to receive the cool plugin chain, then the plugin chain itself does not matter. And I love plugin chains. Yeah. Like I do a lot of work with Waves selling a console that's based solely around plugins. Yeah. So, and I love that stuff. I love learning new things about what people like Corey are doing. Like, show me that thing because I want to implement that. It was funny. I was at Red Rocks about a month ago talking to a guy who mixes for a band that was doing a show at Red Rocks, and he's using Waves LV1 at front of house. And so it's a big deal to walk up to a venue like Red Rocks, 13,000 people, completely sold out, and here's this guy with a console that is literally, just from real estate-wise, a quarter of the size of the house console sitting behind him.
Wow.
And he's making a mix that is blowing the room away.
Yeah.
Blowing the air away,
Yeah.
not a room. And, he's got a plug-in chain on his snare drum that it was the best sounding snare drum I have ever heard. I don't know if I told you about this.
No, I don't doubt it though.
The snare sounded unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you got to tell me what you're doing. And so he shows me his waves rack and I'm like, what? He has 2 instances of PSE.
Yeah.
And somehow they're side chained to whatever. And it's this like gymnastics workflow that he's doing with his thing. And I'm like, I love this. I want to try this. But it's not practical for the guy who's struggling to get a drummer to play in time.
Yeah.
They just started playing to a click 2 months ago, and they don't know what they're doing. I'm not going to talk to their front of house guy about side chaining PSE to each other.
Yeah. That's not far off though of like what would sometimes happen in those events.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Is
it really
that
is not far off.
It's not far off. And so it's like, yeah, I'm a professional that's been doing this for decades, and I'm intimidated to try that kind of thing. So how could I expect somebody to walk away from one of our events willing to try everything we talked about? They don't know how. They don't even know what they don't even know what the real problem is.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And I'm not denigrating them, or I'm not trying to be a downer, but it's like, man, we had to rewind so far to understand the actual need. Not the felt need. The felt need was, man, if I'm around these guys, I'm going to get better. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, that's an honor that people would feel that way about what we were doing. Like, I don't want to take that lightly. But, microphones have a proximity effect, right? Proximity to the cool kids table does not make you necessarily better at your craft. Man, that's really hard because I want everybody to have a seat at the table. And I don't know if I can even be this vulnerable, but when you're at the table, it's like the middle school lunch table. There are certain people that you just don't want to have a seat.
Yeah.
Because it's awkward. And it's like, I hate saying that. I hate admitting.
We were part of it.
I hate admitting that we felt that way.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh no, here comes so-and-so. And, metaphorically speaking. And it's like, it's not about anybody in particular. Don't hear me say that, okay, so-and-so's a nerd and they don't belong. No, that's not it. It's just, once you're in this club, once you're in, and it happens in any social clique or anything like that. My daughter has gone through it a bunch all through her high school years. Like, girl drama is the worst. Like, if you have, listen, if you're a father of daughters, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
Because it is tough, but it's very similar. Like, we had a lunch table of certain people who were in, and they don't want to give up their seat.
Yeah.
Because they're in.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you want to be open? Because no, we're in.
Yeah. And it's just not, it really, at the end of the day, it can become, it didn't start this way, but we saw it before our very eyes. It can become very self-serving over time. And
the whole thing about it being exclusive is it excludes people.
100%. I mean,
and that's the point. That's what it's for. And
yeah.
so it's like,
there's people listening who maybe were a part of this, but we used to have an event called All Access. We're like, let's make it hyper exclusive. We're going to be in a house. We're going to feed everybody. We're going to have after hours time. It's going to be like, they're going to get to be our friends for a weekend.
And everybody who was a part of those things loved it. And I think if like, I've talked to people who were a part of those and they look back and say, that was one of the best couple of days of my professional life. Yeah. So it's like, I get that.
Good can come from it.
Good can come from it. Good did come from it. A lot of people got better from it. Like, I don't want to denigrate any of that because it was awesome. But is it the most helpful thing we can be doing? Yeah. And that's where I have to challenge myself to go, probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. It can be really easy, you know me, I can be black and white and just throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like it was a great thing, and some good things come to an end. Not for the sake of ending, but to make space for other things, right?
And I think our mindset was for that thing specifically, because it is like, if you have all access credentials, to a concert or to like you've got the black lanyard and the radio and the tour t-shirt. You can walk anywhere in the venue and it is cool. It's like there's no usher that can tell me anything.
Yeah.
Because I have all access.
Yeah.
Right. So that mindset, it was like, yeah, we wanted to cultivate some of that because, there was something pretty neat about having all access to MxU.
Yeah.
But man, we weren't giving all people access.
Yeah. Well,
and that's the shift. It's like, how can we give access to more people?
Yeah.
How can we give access to all, not all access to a few?
Yeah. The amount of times I've heard somebody tell me, because I'm talking to churches every day about how we want to help them or how we are helping them with the platform. And the amount of times it comes up of like, yeah, I've known about you guys for a long time, but it was just, you've always been kind of a premium offering. The word premium comes up very often. We've never actually really used that in our language or any of our plans or really anything like that.
Yeah.
But you guys are just like a premium option that really didn't fit the needs of my church. Like we created a very much so us and them.
Yeah.
Like if you're at a 300 person church, first of all, you don't have the budget to come to All Access.
Right.
You're going to spend $3,000 to come hang out with us, eat good food and learn how to mix better.
Right.
Like, no. So we're already not going to be able to help you.
Right.
And it can very much so alienate the people who desperately need help. And also people come, they're like, oh man, that was so great. Now I want to go back home and make all these changes on my show file. And all of a sudden we're discouraging people from going back home to lead a team. It's like, are you having coffee with your volunteers? Are you praying for your volunteers? Are you having them over to your house for dinner? Are you loving on your people?
Yeah.
And getting to the thing that we believe is the real reason why you are in this role in your church is to shepherd your people.
Yeah.
To help grow your people. And yeah, you're a great mixer. God's gifted you in that way to help serve the local church, but that's not the main thing. And I think we just got the main thing reversed.
Yeah.
I think we don't want to downplay how important it is to be skilled at your craft. We believe excellence is a mandate for the local church.
Yeah.
And how we show up on Sundays as a team, as a unit.
It's actually in the Bible.
It's actually in the Bible. It's so cool. But that means, yeah, we have to step away from this one-man show mentality. And it can be really easy for people to look at you. This is why I love you being a part of this discussion. It's easy to look at you, Chris Tomlin's front of house engineer for a pretty freaking long time, longer than most people spend in ministry these days. Yeah. And they go, that's the guy I want to look up to. Like, that's the guy. And it's like, you're like, I'm here teaching you how to mix. But like, that's not the main, like, yeah, with Chris, you didn't have to lead a team of volunteers often.
No.
You're there paid to make the best baller mix you could come up with.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes there is a bit of idolatry towards that. Even look at and we can speak of, Andrew, incredible person, but Andrew mixed how many days a weekend at Church on the Move? Or how many weekends a year at Church on the Move?
Every
single weekend.
Yeah.
Not an average reflection of even the Western church.
Yeah.
And so we have to take that into account and go, okay, so how do we help solve the church 10 years down the road better than we are today? What's the path to getting there?
Yeah. And
how do we see those changes? How do we be a part of those changes in serving what the church will become, what we believe the church will become, be better for it?
Yeah. And, I think it's a tension. I mean, it's because it is good to be aspirational. It is good to go to a conference and be inspired. It is good to go see something super creative and think, man, how could we try to pull something like that off? I mean, I think those things are good and healthy. And when you keep them in perspective, I think it can be very helpful to learning how to get better. But even for us, like we thought, man, if we could get like the top churches to be subscribers to MxU. And so we started doing some research and we realized that churches that are 10,000 and over, guess how many churches are 10,000 and over, by the way? There's about 40.
Yeah.
You know how many churches there are? About 350,000. So we're talking about tenths of 1% of all churches. And we thought, man, if we could just get those. And yeah, they subscribed because they've got budget. And they, like, for them, an MxU subscription was nothing.
Rounding error.
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely that. They didn't have to get, they wouldn't have to get approval for a full year, full team, full whatever. It's like, that's just part of their budget.
Yeah.
What about the other 290 or 320,000, whatever?
Yeah.
It's like, and not that every house church needs MxU. I'm not saying that, but there are tens of thousands of 300 to 500 person churches who've never heard of us, who still have never heard of us.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, those folks who actually could benefit from the help.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a staff. Anybody who serves there is bivocational or volunteer. What can we do to put resources in their hands that are sticky enough that they could actually apply it to their workflow and get better every week?
Yeah.
And surround themselves with other people who are trying to do the same. Like that's what gets me excited now.
Yeah.
As much as I miss and as much as I love and as much as I love the good old days.
Yeah.
It's like those are the good old days. But I'm hoping that there needs to be a country song about this written, I guess. I'm hoping that we'll look back and think that these were the good old days.
Absolutely.
Like, I want to be making the good old days from now forward.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this going, man, I get what you guys are saying, but man, I'm missing that community piece in my life. I'll just encourage you, and I tell everybody this. Go back to your local church for the community that you're missing in your life.
Yeah.
Like, no online community should, if you have such a void in your life of community, we need to reevaluate what might be going on in our local church, because that's where we should be getting our community from. And there's look, you and I are in community with one another, but we don't live in the same town.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But if that is like, if there is a massive void in your life because this online community has shifted, we got to reevaluate.
Yeah. And I think, not just within your own church, but within your neighborhood, within your local community. Like, I was in Houston last month doing a training, and man, the church audio community in Houston is super well connected. There's a group of churches who get together on a regular basis, and they have parties and they do things and they learn from each other, and it's awesome. Similarly, Amplio in Chicago is really trying to build a network of Chicagoland area audio church-based guys who are just digging in together and challenging each other. And it's like, man, this is happening in pockets. Like, what if you could be that person in your community? Certainly, the guys down the street. Get 4 or 5 churches together, have lunch, and just start talking. Go through a book together. Yeah. Have a night where you mix tracks for each other and talk about it and challenge each other. Like, you can do what we did in a micro level and have it be maybe more effective than what we did. So just don't be afraid to get creative in that, because I think, we all need community. That's not the point is not to throw out community. The point is, if we long for that and we hearken back to what that used to be, it's like, well, what was that made it what it was, and how can I create it for myself?
Can I be an extension of
it?
Yeah. And I think that's a really good word of encouragement for folks. You and I have talked about this a lot. It's good.
Hard.
It's good to have this conversation
It
here.
is.
I mean, there's been many areas on this front that we've agreed, we've disagreed, we've really wrestled with over the years. And some of it can be painful because you're like, man, like you said, there's some really, really good memories.
I'm going to challenge you though, and I'm going to do it in public.
Yes. I love a good challenge.
In 2026, we need to have a strategic way to get people together in a room somehow to actually do something that's meaningful and builds community and is helpful.
I think we can do that. And I actually had this idea earlier because we're coming to the MxU platform soon. We're going to incorporate some gamification, some badges, and so on and so forth now that we have quizzes out. And I was like, what if there was like, hey, we're going to throw this event, but you need to have learned gain structure first before you come.
That's
right.
Funny.
Or
yeah.
Like, we're not going to, there could be some really cool ways to motivate people to get to, like we said earlier, it's like we should have been talking about gain structure at some of these events, not parallel compression.
Right.
so there's some ways that even we can use the platform to make that time together even more meaningful.
Yeah. Some sort of baseline certification, so to speak, where it's like, okay, I'm qualified to be a part of the conversation.
We love, and this is why we did like pop-ups last year. We're trying to find excuses to get face-to-face because we love people. We want to be in front of people.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of, for those of you listening, this is probably not a surprise. It's always a challenge of how can we make it economical for everyone?
Yeah.
Like, just so you know, we're never going to make money on those events, and that's fine. We can be honest about that.
Yeah.
But it's just about how can we make it economical for a church to even be able to come.
Yeah.
While we lose money on doing that thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so, we can get creative. Challenge accepted. We'll figure something out.
Good.
And maybe, I know a guy that I could probably ask for help in making that happen. You.
Oh, well.
The most passionate person I know about making it happen. But yeah.
Let's do it.
Hey, thanks for joining us if you made it this long. It's kind of felt like a State of the Union. It wasn't, but it's just this conversation naturally comes up so much around here. We're like, there's no secrets. Let's just have the conversation on camera. So thanks for being here. If you weren't a part of those early days, go listen to those podcasts. We've got a lot of like live event recordings on the MxU platform because there's some gold there as well.
What's funny is there are people who are new to MxU who are listening to this going, what are they talking about? Which I think is pretty hilarious.
This guy?
Jeff who? Like, I've seen Spencer the last couple months, but who's this Jeff guy?
Oh my goodness.
And where do I get one of those sweatshirts?
It's so funny. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We come out with new episodes every week on YouTube and audio only. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching there, so you don't miss out on future releases. But we'll see you next time on the MxU podcast.
Yeah.